Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one man review. Today, I'll be taking a look at I Love Comics, Who Loves Me by Yan Cong. This is put out by Kush. I think this is the first thing I've gotten from Kush that isn't just one of their anthologies or their mini Kush. These, what did they call it? They called it, it's not macro Kush, is it? I don't know. There was a name. But anyways, it's cool to see that they're putting out some like more collected works of individual artists, and I'm particularly excited about Yan Kong because Yan Kong is the person who's at the center of the narrative addiction anthology series and really is a driving force in the underground comic scene in China, which is something I just kind of learned about over the last year or so doing the channel, and someone who is really committed to comics and like to the point of working almost illegally, and someone who is really obviously devoted to their art and makes comics I love. As I'm doing this right now, I just noticed that this looks a hell of a lot like a character that Michael Kennedy draws. I wonder if Yan Kong's a fan of Michael Kennedy, if they interact on Instagram. But anyways, yeah, Yan Kong's someone I'm really excited about. This is a collection of Yan Kong's short stories. So I'll just give you a peek at each one and what they're about. You get a look at his work, and I'll give you a reading of some of the writing so you get a sense of the flavor of it. This one is Comic Saint. It's about a future society where it's kind of like a Mad Max thing, like water is at a minimum, but for whatever reason, comics are very valuable. So it says, an original comic drawing can be traded for 10 tons of water. Al understands the value of comics. It's the end of the world, but paradise for comic artists. So I just love, like, that's right away gives you a sense of how much it's true. Like, I love comics. Who loves me? Like, Yan Kong is very, very devoted to comics. And what a beautiful world that would be, where we could just trade our drawings, huh? This one's called Dream About Traveling. It's a 2014 one. And you can see that Yan Kong's style starts off with very, like, I don't want to say rudimentary cartooning, very symbolic cartooning, very broken down to basic shapes, but compositionally really solid. One thing I struggle with in this book is that sometimes the dialogue kind of jumps around, and you'll have to like read them in different orders, so that can be a problem. Um, like here, it says, I don't even have a lift. I'm exhausted. Maybe it's because it's an old house. Which one? 207. So that all flows. And then there's a really nice trick here where she's saying 207 and it's over the door, right where the 207 actually winds up on the door. Then you come down here and the character says, I'm too tired, just put up with it. And then you read, it's so small and windowless, shall we ask for a change? So there's no consistency. It's not just like a thing of the translation where it needs to be flipped or something, like it's here and then here and there. That was the only barrier I had in reading this. And I don't know, it looks hand lettered, but it also looks like it may have been digitally cleaned up and then Yan Kong or someone else lettered it to match the look of the book. So I don't know. I just don't know how this works and if that's something that Yan Kong's just not sorted out as a cartoonist yet, or if it's something culturally where the way the Chinese language sits on pages is easier for them to make sense of that. I'm not sure. But other than that, some beautiful stuff. This is called Croaking Frogs. It's another 2018 story. A lot of these do seem very autobiographical, but they're never in the way where the characters just like doing exposition the whole time. You just kind of dip in for more of like a slice of life thing. Like here, he's just talking about painting, and painting hasn't been going easy at all, and you're not feeling well. And then she asks, do you still love me? And he says, I do. And I really like right here where he says, I do, there's a heart put in his mouth. So it's like that coming out of him as like a symbolic expression as well as this linguistic symbolic expression. Just some really nice little things like how the heads tuck into the word balloons in places, like a real good sense of the total composition of the page, that the word balloons are part of it. And you can see the style evolving as well, that cartooning is getting more intentional and deliberate looking, that the shapes are being used for compositional purposes, and there's a nice, like, really controlled, technique driven style in terms of the shading that gives a lot of depth to the art. You can see that take over even more in this 2018 piece, Funeral for Comics, where the characters are going to a store and just, dealing with the idea of, like, having to get rid of certain things for comics, or what you have to give up, what you're going to spend your money on. But you can see in terms of the rendering of the environment that there's just some really, really beautiful work being done here, and combined with this really fun character design work, where now Yan Kong has a very distinct, recognizable style, rather than this more, I would say, like, public cartooning style in this other one. Really enjoy this piece from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. It seems, again, very autobiographical. It just is like, let me take some photographs of tracking me through my day. It has a very Jiro Taniguchi Walking Man kind of still, quiet, calm. It allows Yan Kong to do I mean, you can look at this like it's all beautiful compositions all throughout. And he's taking these, obviously, these are referenced real world photographs and scenarios, that's giving him this naturalness to all of the poses of the characters, but then really going out of his way to not just do a photorealistic rendering. This is, like, very realistic and naturalistic, but completely abstract and warped for the sake of the just shape function it takes in the composition. And that continues all throughout this story. You get some things like this where you don't even have characters, so well, right here you have a little character. And I love this because I've been doing this a lot lately too, where like a little bathroom door people where you have the head not connected. That's something I've really been enjoying, and he's doing it a lot in here, and I'm really enjoying it there. And like juxtaposing that up against these really realistic things, that is, something I'm playing with in Bound. And I've been thinking about atmosphere and showing light coming through trees and stuff a lot for that book. And it just, man, he's doing it. Like, the page glows a little bit here because of the way he's rendering the blur on the edges, and really, really, really beautiful, sophisticated stuff. In the middle of a story that follows a story talking about, like, he might have to quit doing comics because he's putting too much effort into them. Well, the effort's paying off, man. This stuff is beautiful. Look at the sense of, like, atmosphere and lighting, place. I feel like I'm going and experiencing what it must be like to go buy whatever it is that's being bought here off of the back of this truck. Some kind of tubing. It looks like tubing, or not a food. But I mean, I really feel there that mixture. I'm coming to find more and more that the mixture between the glyphic or graphic, and then the vudic, or the, like, realistic, when you can get both firing, really makes people feel present. So I feel very much there in a lot of this. This is another one where you've got these, like, bathroom door people type of cartooning embedded in this super realistic environment. This one is, like, you could see the difference in the texture. Like, this seems like there's a pretty big reduction of the original drawings, where these looks like they're probably at size or even blown up. So it gives a real sense of atmosphere. Really just beautiful decisions all the way throughout. This one's called From Beijing to Hong Kong, From Hong Kong to Taipei, and tells another real world story. It seems like it's autobiographical, about taking the bike ride overnight from Beijing to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong to Taipei, to chase down some comics. And they're not finding what they want. And here he's dragging his girlfriend or wife along with him. And Manga Sick replied, they have Dream Hong Kong travel, but it's not for sale. And they've been riding all this way to go get this comic they thought they could buy. Are we still going? I don't know. Let's go anyways. Bring them the fish balls. And, like, that must be a huge bike ride. I'm not enough of I don't have enough education in geography to know what that is, but it seems like that would have been a pretty brutal thing to drag someone along on. So just a lot of like fun little stories like that where they are autobiographic, but they're presented narratively instead of expositorily. You just see what happens and hear the people talk. And then amazing art throughout, and the art just keeps getting better as the book goes. So I'm really, really happy that Hughes published this. And yeah, always happy to get more stuff by Yan Cong. I think he's a really important voice in comics at the moment.
Easter.